Hello, Skinny Tech Boy here. I'm just trying out a new microphone, a new USB microphone, and I thought, what better way to try out said new microphone with a little bit of shameless self-indulgence and promotion. So here we are in the Red Rocket 01, as it's known in the creation kit, or better known to you as the cave below the Red Rocket. The Red Rocket where you find lipstick, not lipstick, the dog, what's he called? I've forgotten his name. Meat Hook, I don't know what's his name. Meat sausage dog thing. But anyway, here we are. And oh look, it's my lovely orbs. Have you met them? Have you met Archie? Have you met Bob? Have you? Have you? Have you? Have you? Well, not if you're a Nexus user, you haven't, because on the Nexus they've only been downloaded about 400 times, which is quite off-putting really, but there you go, what can I do? So Bob, if you haven't met them already, let me introduce you.
Hi there, buddy.
I'm just going to skip the whole story arc stuff.
I don't have time for this. Follow me.
Hey, what say you and I split this joint and go on a romantic weekend for two somewhere?
Oh, and the pause was dramatic. So Archie and Bob are basically two fully voiced custom companions. They are completely custom, completely standalone from the vanilla system. But unfortunately, they aren't the type of orbs that the average Nexus user is intrigued by. They seem to prefer a different pair of orbs. A different pair of orbs. Yeah. Because on the Nexus, there's literally about 400 people have downloaded them, which, you know, it's quite saddening to me. Whereas on the Bethesda, at least in the Xbox One department, they've been downloaded, I think, 13,000 times. So 13,000 people are appreciating my efforts, and to them I say thank you, and to Nexus I say, hey, what up guys? But there you go, what can I do? I just make things. If you don't want them, if they haven't got boobs, if they don't look like a 12-year-old child, obviously I'm not making stuff that you want. But anyway, so these guys are, I'll just tell you a little bit about them. I made them, they were my first attempt at modding for Fallout 4. Hopefully you all know that I've modded a couple of things for Skyrim, Professor Benjamin Dude and Marvin, most notably. Thank you very much for making them most notably. I take back everything I just said about the Nexus. Anyway, so they were my first attempt, and were you to actually look at the ESP file, you will see it says test robot, because literally these two was me trying to get to grips with the kit. So since these guys, I've learnt a little bit more, but...
Don't it just make you question your own sense of consciousness, buddy?
Yes, it does.
I mean, compared to other beings, perhaps you appear as a machine too.
Deep thought. Okay. So yeah, they were fully custom. They're loosely based on R2D2 and C3PO. So I made them, and what I do like about the new creation kit, or at least the new setup for Fallout 4 rather than the creation kit itself, is the way that scenes are handled. You can literally fire a scene from any line, which you used to have to do by script, which I did with Benjamin doing quite a lot, and with Marvin, but you don't have to even worry with script anymore to do that, and it's quite nice. So you can actually set up intricate little conversations that will randomly fire very, very easily. Another nice thing I like is that every single line is not restricted to one single line of dialogue. So for instance, Archie can have a taunt that could be up to like, I don't know, 6 lines of dialogue if you wanted. Not that we would though, would we, Archie? No, because that would ruin the moment. But we could if we wanted to, and that's quite a nice touch. So there you are, Archie and Bob. They're great fun. If you haven't downloaded them yet, please do, because I, like any artist, want to be appreciated by my peers. And you, sir and madam, are my peers. So please, play with my orbs. Anyway, so what else can I show you? I might as well show you, get away, stop following me. Oh no, God, they will know, won't they? I may as well show you Elvis. Don't look, turn away, wrong letter, hang on. Bing, bong. Okay, so Elvis should be here somewhere. Usually appears up here. Ooh, yeah. So some of you may know Elvis now on the Nexus. He's been downloaded about 425 times, I think, at the moment. On the Bethesda.net, he's been downloaded about 5,000 times. So, a big difference going on there, isn't there? But anyway, he's slightly more advanced than these two. Although these two are more advanced dialogue-wise, he is more advanced control-wise and what he can do, because they were a stepping stone to him. And he will be a stepping stone to something else. But I cannot speak of it. No. So, I've just updated Elvis so he can do a couple more things. So let me tell you about some of the things he can do. So, one of the nice things about Fallout is that we no longer need MCM menu control as we did in Skyrim. Now Skyrim, we all had to have SKE, and we had to have our MCM menus where you could set little differences, but you can do all that from a terminal, which is basically a holotape. You can link a terminal to a holotape, and you can put on all kinds of control functions. It's very, very easy. So where are I to go? Over here, over there, and there he is there. Oh look, I've got Gopher's mod installed. There you go. This is like a slight review of Gopher, isn't it? Of course, he'd never review any of my mobs because they are not immersive. Love you, Gopher. Right, okay, so in here, when it gets there, sorry, I like to rant. We can do things like summon Elvis. We can do the basic follow control stuff as well, like wait, dismiss and all that kind of stuff. I did that because one person said that the dismiss function had broken, and he was correct. It was broken if you had a female player character. I fixed that, but just as a little precautionary step, I thought I'd add that in there. It was very easy to do. I've got check status, which will tell you whether he's essential, he's killable, or indestructible. Excuse the buzz in the background, that's my oven. We can toggle essential, toggle invincibility. You can do all the distance stuff, which is pretty boring, but I just threw it in there anyway. Now, just a word of warning about the toggle essential and invincibility. Sometimes the change doesn't register until you exit the Pip-Boy. Now that can be disastrous if you're in mid-fight and you think you're making him invulnerable, but actually you've just made him killable and you're not aware you have, and you exit the Pip-Boy and he gets shot and explodes, which is what happened to me earlier today when I was playing around. But yeah, let's just do one of these. So, because he's already essential, it's basically turned him non-essential. So it's saying he's as weak as a kitten. Okay, so hopefully if I go to check status, it should... Oh no. I hit the wrong button. 1 second, Mondo. Let me just try and scroll. Yeah. Elvis is killable. Okay? So, sometimes if I try and change the status now, let's try and make him invincible. You will see it here. Eventually, there he goes. Knock knock, who's there? Need up. Need up who? It's... When you look deep down, you can see that everything I do is actually just dad humour. So if I check status now, it's still saying killable, you see? But when I exit this, it should say he's invincible. There you go. Were I to go back in, and I check his status again when it gets there. Come on, old chap. I'll check his status there. It should say he's invincible, you see. So sometimes it just takes a little while to update the status. It will always read the status when you're first in there, and it will always read the status of the first change. But if you do a secondary change, it will get confused. So just a word of warning there. Okay. Now, the other thing I should mention about Essential and Invincible is that they have their pros and their merits. Their pros and their cons, sorry. If he's Essential, Elvis will say all of his dialogue. He will say his hits dialogue, his attack dialogue, his taunts. But there is a slim chance that if he goes into bleed out, he will freeze for that combat, for that entire combat session. So the rest of that combat session, so until the combat's finished, he will just stand there like a lemon with his arm out. That's because aliens don't have bleed out animation, so he just gets confused. Now, if he's set to invincible, of course he never hits bleed out, but he won't say all of his lines. He will say his taunts, but he won't say hits or attacks. So it's just something to be wary of. Personally, I think Essential is best, because obviously I've made lots of little funny lines for him to say, and I'd like you to hear them, but it's down to you. Sometimes you can think he talks too much. That's the problem with some followers, especially some of my own followers that I've made. They're a bit too chatty, but thankfully the new creation kit has got a lot of control over that. So you can actually set timings. You can actually put all the idle comments into a group and then set the group timer on. So you can literally say, do not say an idle comment for an hour. And that's quite good, so that makes it a lot more fun, and a lot more controllable. But anyway, so yes, that what else can I show you? Let's talk to him.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? So he hasn't got any kind of conversation like Archie has, but he's got some basic stuff here. So he's got command mode,
Hey.
just like Archie.
Hey.
Okay, so in command mode, you can literally command him around. Now, I've just updated him today. I've been playing around with this all week. Elvis can now... Come on, Elvis. Come on.
Well, looky here, boy. I lost my hands in muddy water.
Elvis should now be able to pick locks and hack safes. Now, I've set that to not a random, but a kind of a timed event, so that he won't do it every time. So there's a little bit, but if I go Elvis inspect safe,
Okay.
here he goes. Come on. Yeah, it's a bit of a slow walker.
Let's see what I can do. The fire's lit, and I'm smoking.
There you go. It's unlocked, so you can do it. You obviously can't do places that require key cards or terminals to unlock. You won't do that. But yeah, so it's just a little extra feature. A lot of people requested that I can send him to their settlements. At the moment, I'm a little bit reluctant to do that because I just think it's funny that he's in a bar in Good Neighbour, and that kind of makes sense that he's drowning his sorrows.
Only fools rush in where angels fear to tread.
Yeah. Oh, another thing about Elvis. Every single line, apart from some of the ones that I've ad-libbed, is a song line or a reference to a quote that Elvis made in real life. So just so you know, a little bit of trivia there. But yeah, what else can I tell you about him? Not a lot. He's pretty groovy. I quite like Elvis. I just want to mention one other thing. I've had a few comments about Elvis being inspired by some YouTube chappie. I just want to refute that. Good luck to the YouTube chappie, but my inspiration for this chap came from completely elsewhere, and I've only just seen his YouTube clip recently. I will tell you this: when I first got the CK, I started work on these two, and then when I finished them, I knew I wanted to make an alien, but what I originally started off, and I even did some voice for him as well, I started off making him, I wanted him to be a chain-smoking,
This
drinking...
place is super scary.
Yeah, shut up. Misogynist kind of character, a real kind of low-life kind of wise guy, huh? You know, like that. But I did the voice, I did a couple of lines of voice for him, put him in the game, and realised he doesn't move his lips. So I kind of abandoned him. And then I played around with a mutant. I was doing stuff with a mutant, which I'm still going to do stuff with. And then I kind of got stuck with that a little bit. And I came back to Elvis, who wasn't Elvis at the time. And I had the idea that in 3D Max I wanted to put a hat on him. So I was just checking through the hats NIF folder. When I noticed the Elvis wig, and I thought, bang! And the idea just popped into my head. Elvis, right? So I put the wig on him, but then I didn't like his little alien eyes. I thought they looked too evil. He looked more like the North Korean president guy. So I decided then shades, and that's how he was born. He is also a tribute to my dad, not in the sense of me, he wasn't the inspiration for me to create him, but as soon as I got the idea of Elvis, I knew I was kind of making a little nod and a wink to my dad, really, who was a huge Elvis fan. Used to play Elvis songs to us as kids.
I'm super excited to be traveling with you,
So
buddy.
yeah, I just want to
Really
say
am.
he's not inspired by anyone other than the NIF folder.
Up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll end it there. Hopefully this microphone works. Tatty bye.